just carry on. Are you recording, Jeff? Okay, thank you. All right, welcome everybody to our August meeting. We need to approve the July 22nd or 19th minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the July minutes?
Motion to approve.
Ryan Oliver, can I get a second? David Biscar. Okay, so the July minutes have been approved. All in favor? Say aye. Okay. Minutes have been approved. All right. So let's move on to monthly business for the Parks Department. Jeff and Jared.
So under old business, Locust Street Park, I received the erosion control. I know GR Morgan is going to permit Locust Street covered picnic area at this point. I do not have a firm timetable at this point. Maple Street Park. That's the next phase of the project. Walkthrough.
Yeah, so the walkthrough on Maple Street Park, when does that happen? I mean, we've talked about some things that might need to be checked off, you know, the lighting, the court.
Oh, the pickleball court?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's been, we had our walkthrough already. We're down to having, there's just a few minor things with the fencing. And so that request to have everything look aesthetically more pleasing and wound up right. The lights at this point were not what we ordered, so they're having trouble with the manufacturer getting the directions to set them on motion detectors. So at this point right now, they're just on from even 6 to 10:15. Okay. That will just be an ongoing thing with the lights. It's a warranty issue at this point, Jerry. Is that what you call it? Yeah, yes.
And the court peeling?
The painter was back and fixed the edges. And once again, if we have any issues, we've got a year and we have their bond money. And that hasn't started yet. So not until we accepted it. We did the walkthrough, but we haven't signed off.
Okay, and until you sign off.
Then starts the clock ticking for the 1-year warranty.
When you sign off, correct? That starts the 1 year. But until you sign off, you hold back payment.
We will, once it's got, yeah, we will hold payment. We'll give them final payment once the final punch list is complete. So we can final payment and then the 1 year we hold on money for a year. They'll request money back a year.
How long do they have on the punch list? Because I'm just wondering, are we holding their feet to the fire on this lighting issue?
Oh, yeah. Yes. No, we went through 3 different lighting companies, and the problem is the lighting company's good. It's where they were manufactured. And so they want to get it resolved also. So they're trying to figure it out. So, but we'll have an update next time where we're at with it.
I mean, because I guess until we get it done, we keep the money. We keep it on old business. I'm sure it's coming up.
Yeah.
All right.
So Community Park received its 3rd and final pond treatment. I think it was a day or so after our last meeting. To me, it's looking really good this year, even though it's low.
Yes.
Doesn't look like you can walk across it.
We were down there just a couple days ago. We both said, wow,
It's nice and clear.
better than this time last year.
So it's a 2-year treatment, but that's where we're at with that one.
Right.
As far as the URD project goes, I have a map here. So the scope of this project, what we're kind of proposing here is
What are we looking at?
This is Canby Community Park. That's the pond there. I just backed off so you can see what, I will zoom in at certain spots. But that's where you come in off of Bird Parkway. That comes down into the park.
This is the whole thing, is it's- and then if- There we go.
So right here, I don't know if you can see, but there's little black checked lines.
Yeah.
That's extra parking I was proposing right there. We have a real parking issue down there, especially in the heat of the summer. So I don't know exactly how many stalls it was at this point, but it
60.
it was somewhere in that nature. Where we got is we were planning on putting a restroom about in this area right here where the first was at. And then up here where the original restroom is about in here. We wanted to put another one back here. What you're seeing here is the sewer and water to connect to the A-frame. And this is a very preliminary drawing, and then the sewer and water to go to the new restroom here. The sewer will then have a wet well, grinder pumps, and it'll go up the hill. Can't drag that.
Can we, the restrooms, how many stalls is the restroom currently on top? I mean, how many? Is it,
It's 1 and 1 right now. What we're proposing is I guess you would call it a unisex, just either one you go in would be just lock the door. So one holder on each side at both spots, you actually double capacity at that point right there.
so is it side by side or is it front?
Side by side, I didn't put the restroom design, it's called a Denali, kind of looks like an alpine little hut. It's a CXT restroom, so it's all made out of cement. I don't know if you've seen the one at Timber Park, but it's a little bit fancier than that, more aesthetically pleasing for down in this area here.
It fits the community.
Correct. So this is a very preliminary overview of the project right here.
What about the restroom down below? Is it the same?
Exact same.
Exact same. Now, the hash marks on there, are they angle parking or is that just hash marks?
That's would be angled parking. And so that's a one-way when you come into this right here. So as you would come in, you would be able just to park all the way down to this. And throughout this project, we're only going to lose about 3 trees, so not too bad. I think we're going to have to widen this side of the road to meet fire department criteria. And I don't know, like I said, it's very preliminary. I have more detailed sheets, but it's all chopped up into like this section. So this was just the best overview for this meeting here.
Has this been budgeted for?
Yeah, so through the urban renewal pay for it. I think we budgeted 505,000, if I remember right. I'd have to look at the budget, but does that sound right, Brian?
Sounds right.
And we'll know when we put it out to bid. Right now, it's kind of
Right there.
and going through planning, start to take a look at it to see what they need to, where we need to go with it. Is that correct, Brian? You guys just got this.
Right.
Yeah.
See, this wasn't coming really out of parks, but I thought we should.
Yeah.
You know, Jeff
It's in a
should,
park.
it's in a park. I thought he should bring us up to speed with what they're doing as far as that goes.
And Scott was excited to let you guys take a look at it, so.
Yeah.
Jeff, have we ever, or do we have any security cameras anywhere on this property or anywhere at all?
We do not at this point. One of the things that we have over in this area where our power comes from, let me get my bearings straight here. Over this area here is where our power is being fed from here, then it'll split off to these two. We also have, I think it's CTA is the orange piping, correct, Jerry? So we might have the ability at that point, pipe's cheap. I wanted to put that in the trench with it. So.
It's such an out of the way place. It really is.
Correct.
It kind of has the need of security perceptions. A few that are visible will go a long way for the rest of the traffic.
What I'm hoping is on the restroom also that we'll have lighting on each restroom and bring a little more light down into that area too. So
But I was more thinking about the perception of the whole park, that cars don't get stolen.
Right.
Never mind.
What is the anticipated, is there kind of a date out there by like next summer, having it ready to go?
Would like to, I'd like to see it, I'd like to see it out to bid. Well, Brian, how much time do you think you guys are gonna have it? Is it gonna, we haven't decided if this has to go to planning commission yet, have we?
Yeah, it'd be 3 or 4 months if it did, but we're not sure yet.
So if it,
Decide whether it's a major or a minor public facility based on the zoning.
if it went to planning commission, we'd be looking at November, December, right, for planning commission? And then we put it out to bid, we could do the 14-day bid. And then we would have to go through the council process of 2 readings in the 30 days, and then we would have notice to proceed, so.
Hopefully by next summer.
Yeah, they hopefully start by early summer, so we have it done, I don't know. It's just everything's so strange right now, I'm trying to plan it, and just people are here out. Just as you know, picnic shelters and all that stuff.
That's what I have on that.
Okay. And did you want to talk about, but as the budget then passed?
Yep, we got copies last week, so.
Any surprises?
Are we,
We got
do we have,
we
we
got the
got
$1 million in SDCs for projects for this year
for parks?
for parks.
Is it specific to is it specific to Maple Street Park?
No.
Okay,
So it's just, we'd have to go through use our old CIP because we haven't adopted the new SDC yet, so. We would just amend Maple on it, I believe, I think. We went over this last time, there's all that, there's good projects on there this year, we just like to make a recommendation to council for that. Which I'm thinking you're gonna talk to them tomorrow more about that.
We're at a meeting tomorrow. Okay. Anybody have any questions on the budget? So there's $1 million of SDC funds that can be used in parks. It's not tied into any specific park.
What do we get, I guess, is there general? Is there, obviously the SEC is gonna go, that's not gonna be our deal, and especially at Maple Street, because we can only use so much of SECs because of the 20 guys. Do we have money, so if we they let us use whatever percentage, do we have general fund money to complete the project? I guess, does that make sense?
I guess it depends on what project you folks pick.
We would have to look into that once you guys decide kind of the direction. I could follow up with our finance director to make sure we have some.
That's always been the question, is how they determine that. So I guess how do we get into figuring out how much of that SEC money we can use on these projects when they say expanded capacity? Who is the be all end all that's gonna say this is gonna expand our capacity X amount? We need to do this.
That is a great question because we have a new finance director and Jeff and I will try to nail him down on that. Let you guys know at the next meeting, or we can let Barry know earlier so he can communicate that with you, because maybe he calculated that in already or something. I don't know, because we got the $1 million for that and the 900,000 for the dog park. It's budgeted. That's the 2 things in parks. So we'll follow. I'll follow up. That's a good question. What the percentage is depending on the projects going off of this list of the that was in the old master plan, the CIP. If we wanted to do something like that.
Do you have a project in mind, and would it be turf?
No, but I know when we talked about turf, the example was, well, that only expands the capacity X amount.
Yeah.
So you can only use X amount of SECs and the rest of it's gotta be backfilled. And I don't know, like, if we read the basketball courts, if that's kind of the same
Yep.
deal of whatever project we're doing, we're not really adding to the park, we're just redoing.
We're enhancing the park.
And so we gotta
Some
figure
more
out,
people will.
some more people, so we gotta figure out, okay, we got $1 million, but really, what is that?
I'm pretty sure we paid for the whole water park at SCC's. So,
think we did.
yeah, so if it's something like that, Brian, we have, you know what I mean, something new, but depending on the projects, but we can sure find out if you give us an idea of what on this list.
Okay, well, maybe that's.
If it's something-
The group to just figure out is kind of what we. and I don't know, I can't remember if we went through that 2 weeks ago, and we went through that deal that we set aside. I know we had a bunch of Maple Street things, but
Right,
I don't know if we went 1, 2, 3, 4.
yeah, I mean, it was listed on complete Maple Street Park. Replace the playgrounds, turf ball fields, new basketball court. I mean, those were some of the
Yeah.
things that we discussed.
And I don't know, like, if obviously, well, I should say obviously, turf field is a big deal because that gives you year round time. But the playgrounds and such need that, like, we have a liability issue, so we have to knock those out right away before we get to the turf. So I guess I don't know where we're at.
Priority, like in the,
Right, yeah, especially from
on yours, on this, Ryan, it says that this project on the old CIP is $2.6 million worth of projects. And 49% of them, or 49% will can't talk, increase capacity. So $1,260,000 is, we could use STCs on.
Is that, that's page out here?
Yes, and I can make you more copies of that. So yeah, this is something we need to look into, Ryan, because the $1 million won't do us any good if we can only use 50% of it.
And is that using the new formula or?
This is the old one we gotta go off of, yeah,
Until we develop a new ceiling.
What's the page number or the object?
21.
So anyway, that's just, I was just trying to figure it out, because I know sometimes
That is a very good
$1 million
question.
looks like it's a lot of money, and all of a sudden you're like, well, you can't use it.
We gotta find it, yeah.
Okay. More on the URD. So
That was the budget.
budget, proposal to name/rename city parks as reviewed.
Mayor, could you give that to?
Staff, sorry, the city attorney has it, and when I talked with Scott today, he did not have an update on that for me, so I emailed Joe, to find out where that's at, so as soon as I hear back from him, I will let you know, so we can get that sent out to the council.
Right,
Park maintenance fee update. Jerry, you probably have more
Yeah,
on this.
yeah, we went to council, did a work session. I thought it went well. We are going back with a resolution and an ordinance because of the way it's set up to renew it tomorrow. So we hope that's going to be successful and we can get that renewed for 5 years. So far, so good. Brian, did you have anything to comment?
No, the only thing I'd add to it is that I believe that, based on the last meeting's conversation and work session, that the minimum will be the 5 years. I know that there was some talk about extending it indefinitely. I don't know if that seemed not as strong, but I think the 5 year will probably happen.
What we're bringing back is the 5 year.
Right, yes, recommendation.
And we had two things for you guys to look at on the resolution, I think, to look at is one.
Well, 3,
Three.
5 year indefinitely, and then not pass it.
Not pass it, yep,
Then sunset.
exactly.
So, yeah. We won't talk about that third one.
Very well. Yep. No, I appreciate that.
anybody else have any comments on the maintenance fee?
I have an earlier question on SDC. When is it that we plan to review the SDC part of the master plan?
We talked about that, Brian and I did today with Scott, and the plan is get the master plan adopted tomorrow. Brian's gonna handle that and then ask council for direction, Ryan, is that kind of how you want?
No, for the SDC portion, you and I and Scott Archer are gonna sit down with the consultant and go over the next.
That's
And then I assume there will be an opportunity for this committee to do a thorough review of that.
Right.
And in the process, get all of us, at least most of us, I think, need to have the clearest possible understanding of this season. How we do it. how we lose them.
Anybody,
You
anything
got the
else?
dog park picture up here.
That,
Any changes from before, is it still 8-foot fence?
It's 6. It's a 6-foot fence.
Okay, well, a few dollars out with going to the.
I don't think it was ever 8,
Those
but
are
that
all
could
6
have been
foot. Did you go to country?
yeah,
Nobody's ever jumped over.
It doesn't appear to have what the original plan was, which will use.
It doesn't, in this, if I may hurry,
yeah,
this area here, we had a bunch of jogs and corners, and Kurt straightened, our city engineer straightened this out. What he found out was when he let the dogs in, there's other dogs running around, they don't want them to get cornered in an area, which could ensue a dog fight. So that's one of the reasons they smoothed out the areas.
What is the small rectangle just about where you're?
That hardscape there, yeah, it's a courtyard, there's a like little sign pavilion. Not sure if that's where the dog horse station is at.
So for your amusement and consideration, the original plans had 15 by 15 foot square called timeout zone, where disobedient dogs and their owners can be.
Yeah, and I believe we still have those in these corners, is there is some of those,
Good.
yeah.
Or 40.
on that.
Well, they need to be big enough so they don't look like Chads, but have, what to do about a dog that's behaving badly and an owner that won't do anything, is always a problem. So, thank you.
The other part of this too is the portion down below where the crosswalks are, that project to the left that connects Eco Park is starting next week.
Putting in sidewalks which connect Eco Park to this area.
It's a separate project for the Traffic Safety Commission requested a 4-way stop there for safety and connectivity and street lighting. So that's happening soon.
And Territorial is kind of a main road, major thoroughfare through. And then the public access road up there where the fire station is off to the left. So you're gonna have emergency vehicles going down through there. It's gonna be a 4-way stop now.
Correct. We've been working on that for several years. And yeah, I went through traffic studies, stuff like that, work with Traffic Safety Commission. Finally got it through.
When wastewater treatment comes in, are you losing any of that duct work?
The way we are right now, we shouldn't have any issues with it. We're getting the reason we did the 4-way stop project now is so we could get the storm system in before the dog park goes in, so we don't have to dig anything out. So where it would start is it would come in over there, if Jeff could go down. It would come in past the crosswalk there.
I mean, any ponds that you put in the future.
I mean, we don't have a plan on this, Barry. It's the property was purchased for parks and for future cooling ponds and natural area. And so our plan is right now, we don't have anything, just talking with wastewater treatment plant, is it would come in right here. And then this swale, it's kind of a draw through here. And so the cooling and stuff would start here and then work its way down to Willow Creek. So the only time the dog park would ever affect it is if we lost capacity or something like that. But we don't have any.
But you don't know.
We don't. It's not. Nothing right now.
On the, you guys are connecting Eco to this, what budget is that coming out?
That's coming out of our streets department because what happened, the reason is I always wanted to make that right. When we built the Eco Park parking lot, we didn't kind of follow our own rules with putting sidewalk and improvements on the frontage. And I always had heartburn on it. And so by doing this, I think it kind of makes up and lets us set a standard to developers and everything else. So adding that sidewalk is something I've been wanting to do for quite a few years.
That makes sense. Oh, you had to do that? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you develop, I don't think you do it, so. So streets department's paid for that. The storm line that's going in, the city's putting that in, and then Tom Scott is reimbursing us on that when he develops. So, because he looked at it, he thought it would save him money by us doing it, so he'll just go up our unit prices. So, which is a good deal for us. So,
Sorry, it'll be less than 900,000.
what's that?
The dog park.
Oh, we won't know what
Don't
the
know
dog
that.
park costs until it goes up to bid, actual numbers, until we get the price of that. when we get up to bid. But right now, the engineer's estimate that we had, for this preliminary was
770.
770, yeah, and then we put in 900 for contingency and everything else, depending on what we want to do. And what we'll do is put all this as unit prices on this, so that depending on budget, stuff like that, we can pull stuff or add stuff. or
What are
whatever.
the amenities that are inside the park, if any?
We got Jeff added a bathroom.
I was hoping I added like a CXT restroom, like would be a timber park, like here. Kurt thought maybe we could even do it here. I don't know. This is the urban growth boundary code, city of Canby. So probably have to be in this area here. And we could put porta potties or something in this area.
We had to add that bump out there for the phone company, so they have a place to park their vans when they're working right there. That was what their condition was. Yep, right there. And then we had to widen this a little bit different design too, because we had to widen it for fire. Add bigger gates going into it, 6 foot. But right now, the everything's, all the utility providers are okay with this design. The only thing we're waiting is to hear back from Clackamas County and Canby Utility if we can irrigate outside of the city limits. So we're waiting to hear back on that. And then we're going to start a traffic study for this, do a traffic study and see what the impacts on that BKS, like we make all the other developers do. And then planning process.
This looks really good, and thank you, Jeff and Jerry, for building the trouble.
It's about the third or fourth rendition of a 33% design. We're trying to get it in to meet everybody's criteria. So
Yeah,
like I said, the unit pricing thing will be really good because, you know, we can start chopping it to pieces if we want to make it more affordable. That's the direction we go.
the list.
Well, thank you for letting me share that, Barry. It's just been hanging out here. I don't think anyone had a chance. to
Well, and
see
the
it.
one thing, I mean, if you're gonna do it, and we're not advocating,
But do it
but
right.
do it right, and I wouldn't cheat with it by putting porta potties.
I agree.
But you're talking $50,000. So you're screaming at it.
But there's some maybe amenities, like a big gazebo, you know, way too expensive and trigger out numbers. But there are lots of smaller things we can do.
We have a small shelter, I think is what it was, but
Oh,
it's,
do you?
It's up there in the corner, Jeff.
yeah, we got shelters there.
Oh, good. But not very expensive ones.
It's all expensive.
Everything is right now.
You remember I suggested the gazebo for Gary Johnson gazebo, he's gonna donate money.
I was hoping that
You could get, if it'll stop on there.
Can I ask a question? Yeah, what's the size of the acreage of that park?
I don't have it on me right now, but you know, we're looking at about 3.5. I think we have, yeah. I have it broken down in the office to this shy dog area and to the, it's like 2.669, and then there's a portion of the city limits that it comes up to 3.5.
Is this the cost that you're talking about, will that include landscaping in there, or is that just gonna be a field? Piece of dirt?
Be a grass field, turfed field, you know, just the natural grass that would be there. I think it does call for a couple trees and some benches around trees.
There's not grass in there now, it's field,
Correct.
so that will just remain.
Yeah, you know, I'm sure after construction, we'll have some overseeding and things of that nature that would need to happen, but it's not like a totally turf area. It's more of a natural. You know, we gotta make it durable for dogs running, so
Okay,
And you have to do
I wanna
something
hold
about
off on-
controlling the lead in there, right?
yeah, hold off on any other. Okay, now. We have, I mean, is there some of the other amenities that we talked about? Are they available at the police station? You have park at the police station. You have water. Correct. You have some of these other things available that we have to put in here, but you have options. And that has not been vetted, correct?
At this point, we're just doing as directed.
We haven't looked into other facilities, Barry. We haven't been directed to do that.
Mr. Haas?
Thanks. Jeff and Jerry and Ryan are executing what they've been directed to from Scott, who was directed by the council to move forward with this here. There's been no other direction from the council to pursue any other options at this point. So what we've got here is what the
But how
council has
can they-
directed. I can't answer that question. So that's why you ask them, can this be done elsewhere? Potentially, but that's not the direction the council to go and pursue those at this point.
All right, I'll take this down now.
Okay. Did I have done?
Thanks, thanks for looking into that.
Oh, yeah. New business discussion, we had more recreational opportunities and perhaps a city website. Now, I went to Wilsonville, I've gone to Chehalem Parks and Recreation District. If anybody wants to look up, if you go to cprd.org, that's the Chehalem Parks and Recreation District website. And if you want to see something that is well done, that's a direction that we want to go. Even Wilsonville, they have a website and they put out this booklet. I think we have a person that's been part of a Westland Parks and Recreation and worked on their recreational program while she was there, Terry. And so I asked Terry to meet with Jim Davis and myself and Janie Stickle and these two guys. And, we talked about what we could do or what we would like to see or what we would like to maybe in the 1 to 3 year portion of this priority list. I think it's important for us to pursue building a portion, a website that, the city has a Parks and Rec.
City of Canby webpage.
The City of Canby webpage, there is a section for parks, but we don't have anything built into it. And we're looking to maybe build it, join with partners like Canby Kids, the Adult Center, Bridging Cultures, the Candy Center, the Slice of Summer, the Canby Fair, offers some things. We need to start maybe looking at drawing in, those people on the outside looking to see what they have. And maybe it's we hire a high school kid or an intern or, somebody that wants credit somehow to help build a site that we could combine our efforts and have everything like a one-stop shop type of thing. And just maybe it's Canby Kids and have a connection to Canby Kids or whatever, put in the information that we need. I asked Terry if she would kind of be our liaison, for this, moving forward. And maybe some of the stuff funnel through her. And I don't know if there's objections or, again, I'm not a meeting kind of person, so I
Oh,
might
no,
do
we have
things
to
up.
build a knowledge, a way of communicating better to the public.
Right,
We saw that in the survey.
and it came up in the survey a lot, and it's, yeah, you passed it on. And it came up in our 1 to 3 year short-term goals also.
Who's gonna maintain it, Terry?
Well, no, Terry will,
The city.
Barry, we have a meeting with Scott Archer. Because we think he's got a lot of skills with this too, just to see what his thoughts are. But I was really excited about the meeting that we had about this, just getting going, just getting knowledge, just starting small and all that. But we'll have more to report back to you guys after I meet.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't answer your question, but yeah.
I
Just
think it's a
having
good
more-
idea, it's just, we don't have anybody in place to take care of this stuff.
no. And maybe Scott will have an idea or for us.
Maybe we got some staff that could help out with this to start, and, maybe some people with some skills in the city that might help us with it. That's what we're gonna start doing.
And also besides Candy Kids, the swim center,
They already have their own.
I know they have
But
their
then
own,
they'll be
but
linked to that
there'll be a link.
on the recreational page. All of these will include links that will take you to County Kids and to all of these other organizations that provide recreation.
I'm not
This is
against it.
As a start, this
I
is
think
as
it's
a way to
great.
just sort of bring everybody, so everyone, you can log into one place and have access.
I understand what you're saying, I just,
It would help us too, Dave, as far as like the slice of summer events, the street events, street closures. Because right now, we don't have a real good process of kind of just planning, sends it out and it bounces around and stuff like that. So we kind of tried, our goal is maybe looking at adding this all together and get a process and streamline it, so you can click on it. see what's going on.
When people say, for instance, maybe moving to the area or whatever, they want to know what's going on as far as parks and rec, maybe trail systems and where we have to ride our bike. There could be a map, that shows the various biking trails and things, whatever. But if you're new and moving into the area, you can go to, I want to see what parks has got to offer. And they go to that one website and then they could, bounce around and see what there is to offer. Even people that live here, I don't know, Slice of Summer I see because they put a flyer out maybe, but movies in the park. We used to do movies in the park. Do we do that again? Did they do it at Wake Park? Did they do it at one time? We were gonna put a movie screen at Clackamas County Fairgrounds.
It's there.
And it's there, but did they have any movies?
Not
Don't
this
know.
summer.
So,
I have a short story about this. This was both last Saturday night and Saturday night before. There have been in Northwood, which is, it is the place that has cement dinosaurs, all kinds of stuff, and no swings, et cetera, at the request of the community, no allowed. But in any event, for the 2 Saturdays, the first one was the former fire chief and his daughter who lives in that area, set up barbecue, and there were, I think, 70 people there, just hanging out around the shelter shed, had all the food on it to deliver the food for free. And then the most exciting part was, and they had music playing, and it was a great community gathering. But after dark, one of the magician guy that was on that same spot brought out the blow-up balloon screens about the size of that glass right there. And the whole crowd, everybody whose kids could stay up that night, saw a movie that night. And it was so exciting. And the next Saturday it was even better attended. It's one example of how, when a community understands what could happen, how could we make it better, which is what we're trying to do in general. We have been a pretty quiet agency for a long time. It's time to sort of step up and defend more funding.
and that's what we're trying to do, and hopefully, this will, I guess it may come out tomorrow at the council meeting, and hopefully they'll see our vision that we would, in the 1 to 3 years, maybe we need to add it first or find the resources to do something like that. And then, Terry can help out. Certainly, I mean, she's a volunteer. We're
She's
not,
a programmer, right? You know
Well-
how to do programs.
we're not asking her to do all of it,
Just to report back.
just to report back. Anybody have any questions or comments or whatever on that?
Thanks for setting that up, though. It's a good meeting.
Yeah, I thought it was a good thing.
I think everyone kind of recapped my thoughts on it. I don't mind a sec.
No,
In the master plan, they even stated that, we should take baby steps into this recreational thing. And at their meeting at the fire department, it was just kind of self-evident that, swim center does their own, adult center does their own. We're trying to make it a Canby Kids, I'm sure does some of their own advertising. We're just trying to make it, why would it be a benefit for you to put your information on the City of Canby webpage? It's like, instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, why don't we just invite all these different recreational opportunities to it? And they can still do their newsletters, whatever. Send us your link, we'll put it on our page. That was kind of the thought, like
As a,
overview.
yeah, as a start.
I don't disagree, Jeff. I do think that there ought to be a flavor of it and maybe some places in this website where the importance of parks in this community and the reason that it's important to support the parks in this community really needs to have a place there, not just what everybody else does. A collaboration of it.
Yeah, I think there is an overview of.
Oh, yeah, that's true. And the Parks and Rec Committee brings to you, the city brings to you new adventures.
right. I mean,
Thank you, that's what.
that's good. Okay, any other comments? We're moving it. Lana, I'm trying to move this meeting through. I'd appreciate if you let us finish.
I don't want to say a whole bunch of things, I just want to ask a question about the dog park. But I will hold my question.
Bike and ped. Bruce?
Sure. We have a safety issue we'd like to bring up. I've touched on it before, but Jeff, can you get that video up for me? It's killing me. And so, well, the whole thing is about the end and on the large way, works like this before. And the time is still in effect. It's very good. If I think what is our software, I think facilitating a pilot and like that, there's something along with it. And so, we can all another target for there to be done. Once nowadays, everybody recreational cyclists right now. I got everyone 15 and along that by the trails. So it's doing a lot of fun. And we have a class there in the city landscape. And that's why what it looks like. There's another thing from the perspective is wanting to, or is going to submit a request to the city to get this. And that's back up where the two paths going together, about 100 feet on either side. And so we think this is a real serious safety concern. We talked about having a sign up on the bulkhead of the overpass above. As Jerry's talked about the graffiti zone. I had a conversation with Barry just the other day ago, and his input to me, which I want to take back to Bike and Ped, is maybe instead of the sign, so we keep the sign pollution down, just on the stencil, or a stencil on the asphalt saying keep right, and see how that works. But I think Bike and Ped would like your support, and also if you have some other suggestions on this area, we're planning to go forward with that.
And we don't need to take up a lot of your time.
No.
It's a pretty simple thing, just to show some caution and to stay to your side. So anyway,
Well,
we're
that's,
just
I mean, that's why we,
kind of giving you an update.
That's right, and we know you have a lot on your plate, so we're trying to get this.
Yeah.
Don't want you to know about it, that you input, but you don't want to have to spend days on this.
Yeah.
With it.
well, I want, and it's good to bring this up and see if there's any discussion on that topic. I mean, does, David, you ride your bike a lot? I
I
mean,
think it's a great idea.
Terry and Barbara and, anybody, Mark, any comments?
You just do it.
I don't ride the bike in that part, but on the north side, the biggest current threat is not the narrow thing. It is a dramatic increase in the number of kids on motorized skateboards. We're flying through here at 15, 20, 25 mile an hour. And so we put up the signs, which helped. I think it has made better awareness. But we do have really fast bikes, really slow kids, all kinds of dogs, et cetera. And it's an accident's waiting to happen, but I think it's getting, my observation is it's getting better. People are being a little more careful about how to do it. Your signs are great, but if there's a way to tilt them, here's the trail, and they're sitting like this, kind of off the trail. And so I guess my first observation is the first time I was walking my dog through there, I didn't see the signs. If they could be angled, I don't know how hard it would be to angle them so that they're facing the oncoming traffic. Right here I am, and the signs are here, not here. So I don't know how easy that would be. But in any event, I think we face a continuing future, more and more faster and faster vehicles, some motorized. I don't know when you say it's a vehicle and you don't say it's.
Do you see? Go ahead.
Do you get, what I want to know is by striping that, it's 8 feet wide.
I gotta go out and measure, but I'm happy,
Does it get us under that 4'88" and we create, liability for the city on the, like, if you run your lane?
I have not measured it. I would guess it's about 8 feet, but.
If we got 4 feet clear, I think, clear, like 4 foot 1 inch, I think we are legal, but that would be my only concern, is like if someone caught the fence or something.
I would worry more of the liability of cyclists colliding there, because I think that's the biggest liability we have. But I don't know if it's 8 foot or 7'6" or.
And instead of, I mean, what were you wanting it to say? I mean, keep right?
Just keep right. I mean,
See, that's
and it's kind of
doable.
self. I've been on several multi-use paths where this has been used before, and it just kind of brings it to their attention. And if we put like keep right on the asphalt, people get their head down and they're walking, they're gonna be looking at the thing. I think it will help. It will not solve it 100%, but I think it will help.
So instead of go ahead, Mitch.
Oh, on the multi-use paths, this is a pretty typical indication of caution, stay in your lane. It's something that cyclists are used to seeing, and I think a lot of multi-use path people are used to seeing in a variety of multi-use paths.
Strike.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds good.
And we were hoping if we get this request submitted, we can get it done this season before the rains come.
You initially had said something about signs, but do you feel stenciling on the pavement, keep right?
And what I wrote you, yes, it's a sign. Because you came back with the idea of Spencer. I will take that back to the committee before we submit it. I like the idea. And, you always do the sign later.
Sure.
I have a comment about this. Now, just do remember that this is a place of serenity and quiet, et cetera. I don't want to simulate a road without commenting about striping. I think anything other than striping, white, not yellow, would be possible, but we don't want to get carried away.
Don't we already have on the signs that you put up, don't we have on there that says
Dude,
keep right?
we
the
do.
signs are there.
Says keep right, right?
Right.
This is a congestion area, so
And they
some
use it.
extra warning would be appropriate.
And it's a little bit
You don't
blind
travel
there.
traffic.
It is a blind part.
It is a point.
I mean, when we came back the second time, we approached very cautiously because we knew we were heading right toward each other.
Could you put slow and then keep right? Or here's even, let's take a page at First Street and go speed ups. Something like that. Slow people down.
I was thinking,
That'd take care of the kids.
I was just thinking of like bollards, you know, on either side of that entrance to the bridge, so people have to get off their bikes and walk.
I was thinking about little ditches that these kids.
Now we've opened up.
We've opened up Pandora's box, but,
What do you want to do? What do you guys want to do with this area? Do you want?
I can measure it for you tomorrow, or you guys can do it.
Well, do you want to, is it,
We're not bringing it to you. This is really an our lady here, I think.
Information.
And so this is more
and you're
information.
giving us, we're giving you a chance to say, what are your concerns?
We're not asking you to take care of it.
I think we all agree that something would be good in this situation.
it should be looked into further. I guess what we're gonna need to do first is measure the area and find out if, you know, if legal.
I don't think that's.
Go ahead. I don't know.
We agree that that's a bad potential and.
Basically, I think we're saying we support.
We support it,
Your
yeah.
concerns
What are you gonna
about
do?
the
We're
safety.
in. All right.
Do we need a motion? No, okay.
We'll go forward, but thank you very much.
Parking lot on North is more and more serving disc players, which is getting more popular. Frisbee players, and people who walk through the woods, across the open to get river access and come back with fish. They go all the way across from parking.
From the Echo Park Park.
They go parking.
Yeah.
And some of them go over from the frisbee disc thing, so it's a little shorter access to the river there. But hey, people are creative about what they do if they go from six.
If you want to do it, they'll find a way. Okay, that was Bike and Fed. I talked to Andrew Hale with Cabot. He didn't have anything new for us for today. So Cabot didn't have anything for us, and maybe next week they'll have an update. So at this point, do we have questions from visitors to our meeting? Wow.
I was wondering if the dog park is a done deal, or does it have to be voted on by this committee? Approved by this committee?
The committee, we can't approve.
You can or you can't?
We're not. Are you holding on that? I mean, we're an advisory board and we've advised.
We've been advised as a doctor.
Yeah, and we've been advised. It's
So it's a
really,
done deal.
It's a done deal.
It
with
sounds-
the approved.
it sounds like it. If the city council approves.
Well, it sounds like they already did. Spent a lot of money on it. Okay, so it has to go back to city council and they will vote on it.
You want me to answer this?
Sure.
So what, we're in the planning stage right now.
Uh-huh.
Once it's approved through the planning process, we will put it out to bid. When we get the prices back, it's gonna be over $50,000. It's our city administrator's got it. He can't approve, so it's gotta go through the city council. So it'll go through 2 readings of city council and a 30-day waiting period.
$50,000 is for the park or for the?
50,000 is the signing authority of our city administrator. It's over that, it's gotta go to city council. So the council has to approve this after we get it, after it goes out to the bidding process. So to answer your question is when all the details are done, we get it out of bid, if it comes back, it'll have to have council approval to move forward.
And maybe to answer, in an earlier vote, our advisory board did not, we voted not to support the location.
And I believe somebody has a petition they're gonna put out against it. Was that you? I just saw it, so.
I have plenty of copies if anybody wants to take one for signing.
be glad.
Well, a philosophical comment. Take up too much of your time. But citizen committees, versus like the city council, has 7 people on it. There are 18,000 people in the city. I don't see too much interest in people attending city council meetings or even watching them on YouTube or Skyping in. So I believe that when the city council or any council in this town decides to do something, they don't represent the entire public. They represent a small group of people who are interested in the project.
That's well said.
But do remember that we are the public, we this committee are.
I know, but we're a small number, aren't we?
Yeah, well,
I'll counter. We may be, I'm gonna counter. We may be volunteers, we may be appointed, but we weren't elected.
Well, I will
That's
counter
true.
with that. When you look at the statistics of elections, less than 50% of the population votes. So we're still talking about a small group of people representing a large group.
I think I should perhaps say this is the notebook in which the very expensive and very thorough master plan was done.
Yes.
And one of the things that all of us have consulted is, what does the community say? Massive surveys done by the consultants. And we learned a whole lot about this committee. This is not this committee,
That's
it's
your
not
new
city council.
That's your plan.
And so we've gone, we and the consultant have gone to great lengths to represent this committee, this community, not just this committee.
I'm looking forward to reading that. And I'm not accusing anybody of anything, just stating the numbers are pretty small.
I think you would find it very interesting. Soon copies
And
available on
And
that.
Sheeman, and just to tag on to that, that survey was answered by 1,300 people, 1,300 out of 18,000. So, and then we can leave it at,
Randomly selected, it was a profile of this community, that's their job. So, thank you.
anybody else, any other comments by anyone else? Sure, well, that's fine.
My name's Kara Hawkins, and I am passionately opposed to locating the dog park on Redwood and Territorial. And I have made my mission to find out all I can about it, and I've made multiple postings on social media. I created, with the permission of the city, I created Friends of Canby Park page on Facebook about 3 years ago. We have a little over 200, right at 200 members. I have created a petition that I am going to get a lawn chair and sit over there and get signs or people to sign for me. I have copies if anybody would like to take one. I totally hear what you're saying about the city council. You know, at the end of the day, it represents the city council, and you know, hopefully they're representing us, but I don't think we have any guarantees of that. And I think the best way that we have to head this off, the only way we have to head this off, is to put enough pressure on the city council for them to truly understand that the city doesn't want to spend this kind of money. It's a dangerous location with the fire department there. It's a recipe for disaster with, you know, now we have the fire and all of that stuff. The displacement of wildlife. This area is beautiful and serene, and I would love to see it stay the way it is. I like the idea of the sidewalks to it, but I would like to see it the way it is. And so again, I feel like the only out we have at this point is to put enough pressure on the city council that they can't deny that the majority, or at least a good portion of the city, is against it. So.
I believe that many of the studies that they use for these ideas are not valid. For instance, traffic studies. I invite everybody, I live off Territorial, I invite everybody with their microphones to come over in my backyard and spend a couple days and listen to what's happened to Territorial Boulevard. I I'm living over there to get away from Highway 99. Because Highway 99 is very noisy and there's a bunch of ozone coming off that highway. Now I've got it out my back door. And this is gonna create more traffic down Territorial. And as I've said before to the city council, people are already using that area as a dog park. They don't need a fence and a trash can, et cetera, a bathroom, or anything else. They don't need it. Part that makes county point in rural is because it is rural. And we should keep it that way. We're not doing a very good job of it.
Okay, Lana, thank you. And I think, we need to, maybe we've reached our time for our Parks and Rec. I appreciate everybody's comments, it's what we're here for.
Are you ending the meeting?
I am ending this portion of the meeting and I'm moving on to our steering committee meeting.
I will say, when I was in my 30s, I worked for about 7 years for the University of California at La Jolla, where they're in their grounds department. And I did many things there. And I know that running a park department is not mowing lawns and emptying trash cans. It's a lot more complex than that. And I am surprised at your ability, this part of the public works department, to accomplish what you have. And your willingness to keep doing it every day. It's pretty remarkable. You're welcome.
Thanks.
That was nice.
So at this point, I would like to get a motion to adjourn this meeting. Pardon me? Barbara? Barbara, motion to adjourn. Can I get a second? Ryan Oliver. So I have a motion to adjourn from Barbara, second by Ryan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So this meeting has been adjourned and our next meeting will be September 20th. September 20th, 6:30, right here. Okay. Now we can move on to our steering committee update and discussion, and we'll go to Ryan.
Yeah, so tomorrow, the master plan goes to council, so I'll make a brief introduction to the plan, but they've received the staff report, plus the list of priorities that this group came up with. So the ask of the council is to consider the report and possibly adopt it.
It's taken a while, right?
Yeah.
All right, it's taken a while.
And Barry,
Comments?
you'll be there.
No.
We'll come grab you.
I'm gonna be here, Jim Davis, Lisa's gonna be here, perhaps anybody from our board.
Well,
Feel free to come. And it starts at
City council meeting starts at 7:30.
7:30. Oh, God. No. You skip it. No, I understand.
That's for the dogs right now.
Bring them along. Let their voices be heard.
Any other, that's all. Anybody have any questions for Ryan? Since Jeff is not here.
And Jeff will be there. So that's something.
At our meeting, at the meeting tomorrow?
Yeah.
Good.
With all the updates stuff to the master.
Anybody? No? Okay, nobody else has anything for Mr. Potter and the steering committee, that portion? Do I have to go through the same thing I do with my, this isn't my meeting? Okay, thanks. Thanks, everybody, for being here. This meeting is adjourned. Did anybody want one, get one?
There's an extra one right here. We have one.
Did Carol leave any extra